Okay, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Haruka Kodash, double honors to the Apostle of the Great Millstone, and shout out to all the Akim pushing that word to sincerity. And so right now my throat's a little sore, so slack if I sound a little rough, but I'm gonna continue doing this video. So this article came out a few days ago, but I just right now got the time to do it, like a sit down, and I want to bring out some precepts on this. So this news article is Coast Guard officer plotted to kill Democrats and journalists, prosecutors say. And so people in the armed forces, like it's mostly Israelites that are in there, like from the northern tribe or from the southern tribe. But like an Edomite that's in the armed forces, whether it be the Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, or Coast Guard in this case, like they're very racist because they're Edomites, the Red Hebrew Edomites. And so it says, as the spirit in them to be hatred, to show hatred against their brother Jacob. And you see, he's got this big arsenal right here. He's got, rifles, assault rifles, cans full of bullets, all this stuff. Like he's even got like bulletproof plates. All right, so I'm gonna read this now. It's a Coast Guard lieutenant. Now that's one thing too. He was a lieutenant, so he wasn't enlisted in the Coast Guard. He was an officer in the Coast Guard. And a self-described white nationalist who was arrested in Maryland last week was plotting to kill a long list of prominent journalists and Democratic politicians, as well as professors, judges, and what he calls leftists in general, federal prosecutors said in a court filing on Tuesday. Lieutenant Christopher Paul Hassan, 49 years old, was arrested Friday on gun and drug charges. So this guy had drugs as well. The prosecutor said in the filing that those charges were just the proverbial tip of the iceberg. The filing argued that Lieutenant Hassan should be held until he is tried, describing him as a domestic terrorist, and because that's the Red Hebrew Edomite, he's the domestic terrorist of the world. So it says who intended to murder innocent civilians on a scale rarely seen in this country. So because this guy, he was going big. I can show you the picture. Like he wanted to entice other so-called white nationalists to follow with him. So like he even had a sniper. I didn't see that yet. So out of here on Thursday, Magistrate Judge Charles B. Day ordered that the lieutenant remain in federal custody for at least the next 14 days. In their filing, prosecutors quoted a letter that he drafted to friends in 2017, and that the authorities found in his computer in Lieutenant Hassan's, who works as an acquisitionist officer at Coast Guard headquarters in Washington, wrote, "I am dreaming of a way to kill almost every last person on Earth," and that's the so-called white man. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the precept real quick. So this is Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Yeah, so like right now, since this is Esau's kingdom, like he's in charge of everything, so he gets away with a lot of stuff. But if he were to have complete reign forever and ever, there would no flesh be saved. He would cut down all the trees. He would kill everybody. Like how he's saying, he's trying to kill as much people as he wants to. Yeah, but for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened, because at the end of his story, he's going down and we're going up. We're winning. I mean, technically, we already won. All right, so it says on the quote, "I am dreaming of a way to kill almost every last person on Earth. I think a plague would be most successful, but how do I acquire the needed Spanish flu, botulism, anthrax? Not sure yet, but we'll find something." See, this guy, he was pretty wicked. He was trying to get weapons, biochemical weapons. He was doing the most, because Esau, the so-called white man, who's the Red Hebrew Edomite, he's the real no-limit nigga. But his limit is like he has a glass ceiling, because his limit is as most as Satan allows him to do. Because at the end, he's gonna go into slavery for 1,000 years, and he's gonna be exterminated. All right, so I'm going to continue on. It says, in the last month, prosecutors said the lieutenant used his work computer to draw up a list of prominent figures he called traitors and wanted to kill, including many well-known anchors and hosts on the CNN and NBC news network, and a number of Democratic elected officials. The list included, among others, House Speakers Nancy Pelosi, Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which this lady right here, Alexandra Cortez, she's a so-called Jew. She's an Amalekite, so she's a Red Hebrew Edomite as well. The lieutenant that got arrested, he just doesn't know that. And Maxine Waters, Senator Richard, it's a whole bunch of people, whom he refers as Sen Blumen Jew, and in reality that he's not a Jew. He's an Amalekite. He's a so-called Jew because the real Jews are the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And many of the senators running for president in 2020. So he had recently performed internet searches seeking information about whether senators of Supreme Court justice received Secret Service protection, and court filings said. So I'm just going to skip to all the good parts. Alright, so in the letter quoted by prosecutor Lieutenant Hassan, wrote about wanting to start a race war, because that's his intent. He wants to wipe off pretty much everybody, but mainly the Hebrew Israelites, because he's not going around to Chinatown and starting shit. Basically, he's going to the source of what he believes is the problem, which is us. But really, he's the problem. Alright, so it says he mused about, so I can read on this one. In the letter quoted by prosecutors, Lieutenant Hassan wrote about wanting to start a race war and pondered the best way to do it. Much blood will have to be spilled to get Whitey off the couch, he wrote. Yeah, because he wants to stir up all the other Red Hebrew Edomites to do the same thing that he's doing. So that's enough of that about this. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the precepts. Alright, so this is Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning of my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. Yeah, so ever since Jacob supplanted Esau, he has had a perpetual hatred towards his brother. And so I don't like going into like all the other the other translations, but like the CSB, the NIV. I'll go ahead and read the CSB. It says Esau held a grudge against Jacob. And I got the entomon of the word grudge. It says to murmur, complain. Variant of grudge, meaning to begrudge, envy, wish to deprive of. And the Red Hebrew Edomite wishes to deprive us of living, basically. Because his end game is just to kill everybody and then himself. Alright, so this is Ezekiel 35:2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Yeah, because the Heavenly Father hates Esau, which means we, as the Hebrew Israelites, from the tribe of Judah all the way down to the tribe of Issachar, we have to have that hatred as well. Because there's no love between us and the so-called white man. Because the Heavenly Father has a perpetual hatred for him. Why would we love something that the Heavenly Father hates for forever and ever? Right, so this is for verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh power, because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. And that's what this guy wanted to do. It was an intent. Following Mr. Breivik's advice about how to start a race war, and this Breivik, I believe, is another Red Hebrew Edomite who tried to start a race war a few years back. Because that's in the so-called white man's mind, is to start a race war because he wants to eliminate us, and then himself at the end of his whatever sick fantasy he has. And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Yeah, and Esau's all about blood. Like, he eats his steaks raw. He bathes in it, this and that. And, like, ultimately, like, him wanting to murder everybody, that's a bloodlust. Alright, so this is verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Yeah, because Esau, he thinks he's gonna ride off onto the sunset, but really he's gonna go into slavery. Because he says he wrote about wanting to start a race war. Really, the Heavenly Father, he beat you to that. All right, so I got the etymon for perpetual, and it's universal, permanent, continuous. Yeah, because that hatred, it's never gonna be cold. Like maybe like a so-called white person at work, he's gonna like be nice to you, but he's basically just trying to hug you so he can stab you on your back just to get closer to you. Alright, so this is Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Yeah, because as these prophecies are coming, like one of the prophecies being, the horrified Egypt being the mark of the beast, it's going to be forced on everybody. We're also going to go through calamities like Jacob's trouble, which is like martial law, race wars, and all that. Yeah, because like it's not just this lieutenant in the Coast Guard who has this arsenal. I guarantee you, they're like almost all Red Hebrew Edomites has an arsenal ready for what they would call the day of the rope. But really, none of the Red Hebrew Edomites are ready for the day of the chain. Yeah, because they're the Cain gang, the chain Cain gang. All right, so this is Daniel 12:1. And at the time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of that people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Yeah, because all these things that are happening, they're very unprecedented. Like they're very new. Like we're not really used to seeing like race wars, so to speak. Such as never there was since there was a nation, even to the time, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Yeah, because like the Red Hebrew Edomite, he's got this big stockade. I'll be honest, I don't got a stockade like this. I don't got like the amount of bulletproof vests that this guy has, or rations, or this and that. But you know what I have is I have faith. I have faith that my name is written in the book of life, and that I will be delivered out of these these difficult times that are ahead of us. All right, so this is Job 27:13. This is the portion of a wicked man with the Most High, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep. Though he heap up silver and dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. Now, so this guy, he had a big arsenal, and this is a lot of money. Like all these rifles, all this ammunition, bulletproof vests, this and that. So he was basically stockpiling a lot of riches, and he got arrested. He wasn't able to use it. And that's going to be the same thing during Jacob's trouble. Is like a lot of people are going to be stockpiling like rations and this and that. Really, they're stockpiling that for the men of the Lord. All right, so this is Matthew 24:22, and except those days should be short. Oh, I saw. I already read this precept. All right, well that was all the precepts I had about this article. Hopefully this video is edifying. I will give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Har Kakodash, and Shalom Akim.